All right. So today, for the next little while, we're going to talk about the Rotary Foundation and some of its activities and how it is being seen and used within your clubs. So the first question is, and you can unmute yourselves for this, what has Foundation done for you? What has Foundation done for your club in the last, couple of years? Put your hand up one at a time, and yes, I can see Janet there. Go.
Yeah, we got a grant to help build some toilets in Cambodia, where one of the children, they use the rice paddies as a toilet, and one of the young lassies had been raped. So we decided to put toilets in to keep her safe and to build some toilets in some other villages as well. So that's what Foundation's done for the E-Club, in supporting our program in Cambodia.
Fantastic. Right. So we've done some projects over in Cambodia. What else has Foundation done for any of our clubs? Yeah, Marty,
well, in terms of
hang
on.
Marty Shepherd, Rotary Club of Van Warren. We've been very fortunate in recent years on getting grants for local projects, from Wallara project to a kindergarten to the Scouts, and we'll be putting in this next calendar year for some work at one of the local fire stations.
Yep. So again, working in the local communities, Scouts, fire stations, fantastic. Carol, your hand went up.
Yes, we've done two actually. One, we've worked with Tony Austin from Warrnambool in a water project with PNG that we jointly applied for a district grant in. And the other one was a bit more choose. We supported a club in Cape Town, Newlands, who were building early childhood centres in one of their African townships. And they got a foundation grant, and we assisted in funding that, so they got the foundation grant.
Fantastic. Diane, I can see you've got your hand up, and then Teresa, you're next.
Diane Carson, Rotary Club of Warragul. We've been fortunate to get, I think, 2 or 3 district grants now for our work in Vanuatu. We've sent 2 containers of aid with the assistance of donations in kind. And this year we were able to have 100 desks and chairs built in Port Vila and shipped to the island of Mayowe for the new primary school that had been built there.
Yep, absolutely. So our foundation is doing amazing stuff. Teresa.
That's all right. Diane has just answered that.
Excellent. Anyone else got anything else? Jan, then Robin, and then Mike.
Yeah, the Traralgon Christmas before, and it was really well received.
Yep. We got half of that one. Your internet is typical Gormandale internet, I'm sorry. But we got bits of it. Robin.
Yeah, we're working on a project in Bougainville. One of our members is from Bougainville, and we're looking at helping out one of the hospitals up there with some raw playgrounds and also some medical equipment from DIK. So that's coming up this year. Yep,
fantastic. And Mike?
We joined with the Rotary Club of Maui and purchased a elevated platform for Rotary Centenary House through the assistance of a district grant. And that means that all the volunteers, many of them over 70, don't have to climb on ladders to clean and change globes and all the rest of it.
Oh, I would have thought you were trying to practice swan diving or something from a ladder. You won't be able to now. You'll be safe. No. Anyone else? Pearl again, yes?
Oh, we've had, excuse me, several projects. We've had Music for Dementia that Foundation has assisted us with the nursing homes and elderly with, of course, the headphones. So we've distributed 30 of those to the local community. We've just secured now our grant for supplying fruit trees, an orchard for the Hope Restart in Bairnsdale, and I'm sure most of you know the Hope Restart is for people that are being rehabilitated after drug abuse. So we've had that, and of course we've had several assisted grants regarding our bushfire recovery.
Absolutely fantastic. So if I can ask everyone to mute themselves again. So as you can see, isn't our foundation amazing? In the last, 5 minutes that we've been going, just listen to some of the things that we have been able to achieve through the power of foundation. And as you know, our foundation is the cornerstone of what we do. Our foundation is there to help you achieve these projects. And so for the next little while, we're just going to talk about, how foundation works and why foundation needs your support. Because if we don't get your support, our foundation isn't going to be able to support you. If we can't support you, our communities are going to suffer. So for the next little while, think about those projects that we've been talking about. Some are local, some are global. Foundation covers district grants, it covers global grants. We didn't touch on polio in there, and I think we've got to keep polio at the front of our thoughts of everything that we're doing with foundation, because don't forget that promise that Sir Clem Renouf made, that no child should suffer from this disease. And Foundation have made it easy for us. They've given us some areas of focus. There's 6 areas of focus, isn't there? Oh, I'm getting some nods, I'm getting some shakes. Don't forget, yeah, I can see the fingers coming up. Yeah, look, I don't have my green screen. Yes, we don't have 6, we have 7, of course. And Foundation has brought, as the 1st of July, we can now really get involved with the environment. And I think that is absolutely fantastic. And I think for the next few years, we can really, really leverage, particularly environment, to help drive a whole lot of our local projects. So if you were listening to Bill yesterday and a little bit today, one of the questions that I want everyone to go back to their clubs and ask their clubs, are we, as Rotary, someone's got their microphone on. Hang on, I'm just going to... Yeah, there we go. I think we got it now. Are we a fundraising organisation? Because, we hear a lot about the focus and the emphasis on fundraising. Fundraising is important, or are we a humanitarian service organisation? Rotary, as far as I am concerned, is a humanitarian service organisation. We've just talked about some of the projects that we do in our communities. That is serving our communities. And that's where I'd like everyone, every club, to concentrate on service projects in their communities and get the fundraising as the secondary option of what we're doing. Fundraising helps us to do the service. So we all go out and cook sausages. Lots of people in our communities see us as, oh yeah, Rotary, they cook sausages. Do we? Yeah, sure, we go and do them, but why are we seen as people that cook sausages? The sausage is the means to delivering the service. It's the way you just think you sell a sausage at $2.50 at Bunnings. Just think every one sausage that you sell, $1 you could put into polio, and that means you can immunise 3 people against polio. That's the equation. It's really quite simple. The fundraising enables us to deliver a service. When we deliver that service, we increase our impact. So by getting out there, working in our communities on other things, let people come to you at a sausage sizzle and say, hey, didn't I see you down the park refurbishing those park benches and all that? That's the conversation we want. We don't want to have the conversation, oh yeah, you're at this Bunnings next week. Which Bunnings are you going to be at next week? That's not the conversation that we want to have. We have lots and lots and lots of Rotary programs. So if you are out there fundraising for our Rotary programs and our Rotary projects, all the funds that you should be looking for, personally, let's put them back into our Rotary projects because they've got our brand. That's what we should be promoting. We need to promote the Rotary brand in everything that we're doing. And basically what I'm referring to there is we go out and raise money. So I'm just saying we are out there fundraising. We have someone, they're going to come to the club from one of these other big charities and they're going to say, listen here, Rotary, we're doing this wonderful project and we really want your support. And we all sit down there and we go, yeah, that's really good. And that's absolutely fantastic. So what do? We give them some money and they go out and build their brand on our funds that we have raised. Do they ever mention Rotary supported this project? Rotary supported this activity? No. They're just interested in promoting their brand, their projects, not what we do. Then in 12 months' time, they're going to come knocking back at your door because you are a wonderful people. You gave them some money and they're going to ask for some more money. And guess what? The cycle goes around and around and around. And what has Rotary got out of that? Nothing. There is no brand recognition. So what I'd much rather see is for us to go out into our communities and find a service project, something that is going to make an impact in our communities. Once we've found the need, we're going to develop a plan, a project plan of how we can deliver that particular project. That particular plan is going to include fundraising, but now you are fundraising for a purpose. When you are out there fundraising, you can say, and turning these sausages, you can say, you know, thank you for supporting Rotary. This sausage that you have just purchased is going to help do X in your community. You're changing the conversation. And that's what we need to focus on. We need to change the conversation around what this sausage actually means. This car parking activity that you're doing, this farmers market gate that you're manning. Change the narrative to promote the Rotary activity. Then once you've got your fundraising, now's the time to go out there and actually do the project. You deliver the project. You see the community being engaged in what you have actually done. And you continue to talk with the people out there. You get your Rotary branding, you get your barley flags, you have flyers and everything. Don't just go there and just have your Rotary t-shirt on, but really promote Rotary so that people are going to see you working in their communities and delivering a project. And if you're doing that, You're going to publicise what Rotary is doing. You're going to get your face in the newspaper. You're going to potentially get some airtime on some of the news. I know out in Gippsland areas, the news are quite regularly featuring Rotary projects. But the best thing is you are growing Rotary, and you're growing Rotary's reputation in your community. That's what it's all about. And to me, that's the fundraising cycle that I would like to see our clubs get involved with. It's that positive spin. Come up with your project. How are we going to fundraise? While you are fundraising, you can promote Rotary, and you've got a story to tell. It's about telling the story. This sausage is going to impact that particular person's life. That's what floats people's boats. Not, oh, what are you cooking? Oh, we're just cooking sausages to stick into general revenue. Who cares? That's not challenging someone's thought process. We want to challenge people to make them think Rotary is a service organisation and doing good. So forward, we've talked a little bit about the fundraising side. So part of the new focus, I shouldn't call it a new focus, it's not a focus, it's part of the thing that we really need to do is now, I've just seen my internet connection has gone unstable. Am I still coming through all right? Yep, good. Yeah, for a long time now, we've been asked by Rotary International to put our foundation chairs into Rotary Club Central. So please, everyone, it's to me, foundation is the corner of what we do. We've got to make sure that we have these roles listed, because we are getting more and more information about some of the amazing work that Rotary is doing around the world. And if Rotary has some information that they want to share with you, we need that information, your email address in there, so we can get to the people that care about the foundation. So please get that in there. Work out who is your polio chair, who is your personal giving chair. Get all of those things listed in there. Foundation, membership, and public image are the three things that Rotary International really, really want to have documented in the systems, because the three of those things all work together. When we're talking about fundraising, that's your public image. So we need to be able to get materials to you. We need so that you can go and tell the story about what your club is doing in foundation. When you're out doing those projects, people are going to start to say, I want to be a part of this. How do I join Rotary? And that's where your membership side is coming in. So start thinking it's not just foundation, it's the Rotary image, and it is also how we can grow our membership so that we can increase our impact. Also, in Rotary Club Central, we ask people, what's your club goal for giving to foundation? I would say less than 30% of clubs enter this information into Rotary Club Central. We know in our personal lives and our business lives, no plan is a plan to fail. No goal, goalless, aimless, you're not going to achieve. Go and talk with your president, go and talk with your board and say, what is our foundation goal going to be? I've got a couple of suggestions there. The annual fund, can you set aside 10, 15% of all of your fundraising to go to the annual fund? You'll get that money back so that you can do some of those projects that we were talking about right at the beginning. That's where that comes from. If we stop giving to foundation, foundation isn't going to be able to support you going forward. Our polio fund, I touched on it before. We made that promise. COVID has certainly had an impact on polio in Afghanistan and Pakistan, but we are going to start to get back on top of that again. But the job's not done. We've still got a couple of years at least before we can say we've got the cases down to 0, and then we've got the 3 years for the World Health Organization and Rotary to make the formal declaration. That's when we can celebrate. So you put all of that together and we're still 5 years at least away. So polio still has to be at front and center of what we do. How many people in your club are put into the endowment fund? That's another avenue of giving to our foundation. It's to ensure that the foundation's legacy can continue to move forward. How many people in your club personally give to foundation? We have the Centurion program, which past District Governor Charlie launched in our district quite a few years ago. That is an amazing program. $2 a week, that gives you $100 in a year. That makes you a Centurion. How hard is that? Just imagine if every single person in our district was a part of the Centurion program. How much money would our district be putting into our foundation? How many members in your club are part of the Paul Harris Society? I bet you there's not too many. I know how many there are in the district, and I would love to see the Paul Harris Society members increase. That's a personal giving to our foundation. And as we touched on before, the Bequest Society, how many people are prepared to just leave a little something in their estates for the future of our foundation? Just a couple of weeks ago, we had the Global Grants and the District Grants Seminar, which you need to attend. Again, we talked about some of the activities the district grants have done. That's what that is for. That's so that you can qualify, you'll put an application in, and then we will match, do some funds matching and make your project a bigger project, which is going to have bigger impact. So when you see those grant seminars, that's the time for you to start to think. Just yesterday at the President-elect's training in one of the breakouts, it was fantastic to hear that lots of clubs are already thinking about some of the projects that they can do with those grants. Get on to think about what they are, put the application in, and as soon as our money's come through from Rotary International, you can jump and get those projects happening. And as I said earlier, you have to have the goals. You've got to enter your goals, because without a goal, we're just aimlessly wandering around. And don't just enter the goals into Rotary Club Central because Mark says, you know, he wants it in there. Go there and measure the goal. How is the club going to achieve? Are we on track for making our commitment to Rotary International? Use it as a tool to measure. And please, lots and lots of clubs get to this time of the year and say, oh, we haven't made our donation to foundation yet. Oh, we better get it on. At the moment, the dollar isn't too bad. Put the money into foundation. Get it into there where it's going to make the biggest impact. Don't leave it to the last minute. Do it at the beginning of the year. Do it regularly. Make a monthly donation from your club into foundation. But please just don't hold it back and wait till the end of the year to see, oh, well, we've got a little bit left over. Do it month by month by month. Do it right at the beginning of the year And at the end of the year, you might say, hey, we've still got a couple of grand spare. What can we do with it? We'll give it to foundation. And that way you can potentially exceed the goal that you have put into foundation. An interesting stat, the average person in Australia donates to a charity, and they on average donate $106. What's that sound like to you? The Centurion program. So if we're the average Australian, why don't we put that $100 into the Centurion program and become a Rotary District 9820 Centurion? This goes back a little bit to the negative fundraising cycle. Look at all of the great projects that are on the left-hand side of the screen there, and we all agree they're very, very worthy projects. Look at the ones on the right. That's our Rotary Foundation. That's what your money, your donations is actually working on. And you can see down the bottom there, the areas of focus. Every one of those things on the left is a part in some way of what Rotary Foundation's 7 areas of focus already are. So I'll keep coming back to that. Look at the Rotary projects and let's enhance our reputation. And there they all are. There's all 7, including the new environment there, just on the 10, 11 o'clock position. That is the one that I think we, particularly now, and particularly in the part of the world that we live in, the Mornington Peninsula, all the way out across Gippsland, what an amazing part of Australia we live in. And just have a look at all the different environment projects that there are. Just on the weekend, on Friday, lots of kids wanted a day off school and they all went into the city. Why? To talk about the environment. So the youth want to talk about environment. So there's a way in to our schools, to our young people. And we all know, we touched on a couple of the other ones earlier on, prevention of disease, economic development, child and maternal health. That's what our foundation does. And we've already heard many of our clubs are already involved in those areas. So by changing our narrative, again, as I was saying, we're going to cook the sausages for a specific purpose. That gives us the story to tell when you're cooking that sausage, when you're parking that car, when you're welcoming the people into that market. What are you fundraising for? I'm fundraising for clean up the local river. I'm fundraising because we want to encourage the native bees to come back to our devastated areas. I'm fundraising so that we can repopulate, rehome koalas. And tell me that's not going to tick people's boats. And instead of getting a $2 donation for coming in, you might get a $20 donation. It's easy. It's making an impact. If we all become a centurion in our district, this figure is actually wrong now. When I did this slide, middle of the week, we were 1,170. Now we're 1,177. So 1,177 people, all being members of Centurion, we could donate $117,700 to our foundation from our district. Now, wouldn't that be wow? Wouldn't that be amazing? What impact would that make? So there's a challenge for everyone. Go out there and try and encourage everyone, every week that they come to Rotary, put $2 in. less than a cup. It's a half a cup of coffee. All right. $2 in. And then, as I said, every month, ask your treasurer to send that money into foundation. And wouldn't it be amazing if our district, for the first time, could donate over $100,000 in a year to our foundation? And it's, you know, our hip pockets wouldn't even feel it. Half a cup of coffee. So that's, as we said, growing the Centurion. That's the impact of what we could have in our zone if we were able to increase the number of givings. We've got over there, you know, they're targeting an increase of over 2,000 people just in Australia to join. So if we've got 2,000 people, you do the maths, 2,000 times $100, what sort of impact our zone, our Australian area, what impact is that going to have? I touched on earlier the Paul Harris Society. Again, they've got a target of growing Paul Harris Society here in Australia by 100 people this year. Who in your clubs want to be a part of the Paul Harris Society? I reckon we've got lots of people that would love to be a part, because that is going to show a real commitment to our Rotary Foundation. It's a challenge, I admit. It's $1,000 US a year to be a part of that. But to me, it's not about the money. It's about the impact that your donation is going to make. Be great if we could have major donors, but that is real commitment. That is commitments of, you know, over $50,000 a year. If you've got that sort of money, we're here to talk to you. We'll put you in contact with the people at Parramatta, and they can tell you the hows and the whys about that. Our Bequest Society. How many people really want to leave a legacy for our foundation going on into the future? Again, as you can see, we're targeting 100 people across Australia, additional people. And you can see all the little badges down the bottom. All that basically means is the amount of bequest that you are going to leave as part of the legacy. The greater the bequest, the more of those little diamonds get presented in there. To me, that is an amazing legacy. And again, think of the impact that that is going to have. This year, I want to come out and I want to visit every club. I want to talk about foundation. I want to talk about the stories about what our foundation does. Because I don't know about you, but foundation really is important. I love our foundation, and I want to see our foundation really grow and become a bigger and more powerful entity than what it is. But we can't do that without you. So please let us know. Foundation month is coming up. Plan an activity. Hopefully this year, like in past, we've been able to have that movie, some special release movie in October. Hopefully that will happen this year. Get out there and support that. Have a foundation dinner. A district where I'm planning to have a big foundation dinner, at which I'd like to recognise some of our great supporters of clubs and individuals. That will come, information will come out about that later on. But we need your support. So please invite me to come down and talk about the great work that our foundation does. There's the email address. Foundation@rotary9820.org.au. Some of you have my other email address. That's fine. You can send it there as well. And that's my phone number down the bottom. Happy to talk to you, want to talk to you about the power of our foundation. So that's all I'd like to say. Now I can see there's been a few things have come up in the chat. I'm just, yes, Sunil, yes, I saw you make put your hand up earlier. It does cause awareness of what we do. Recognises Rotary support with signage. Baden Power Scout Group recognises Rotary support with signage on their trailers. Absolutely fantastic. And that's what I want to see more of, is we're making a difference in the community and they're promoting Rotary as an organisation that supports them. Badging all of our shipping containers, fantastic. Again, with all of this sort of stuff, please contact our public image team before we go out and brand. We need to get that consistent message. We've got lots. I can see Pearl nodding and smiling there. She knows I'm ruthless on it. We've got to get that consistent message. We have a recognised brand. So we need to be consistent in that. And I just love the fact that our branding is getting out there. That must have been Jan with her internet problem there. Good old Gormy, yes. Grow Rotary funding through Paul Harris Fellows. Absolutely. Look, the Paul Harris Fellow is a recognition, and that recognition can come in many ways. It can be recognition of someone doing amazing stuff in our community. It can be recognition of somebody in our clubs doing amazing work. To me, you know, get out there and give Paul Harris Fellows away. Give them away, because A, you're recognising people, but most importantly, that costs $1,000 US. That's $1,000 US for our foundation. And again, $1,000 US, what impact is that going to have? So, yep, Paul Harris Fellows, get out there. They are fantastic. And just because somebody's got one and they continue to do great work, give them a second one, give them a third one. Recognise people. Only 2 wild polio cases in Pakistan this year. I thought we were 30s, Jan.
Hope it stays. I just looked it up. There is 1 wild polio case in Afghanistan and 1 in Pakistan so far. There are a few circulated cases which come out of the immunisation, and there are a couple of environmental samples. But in terms of the figure that they worry about, which is the wild polio virus, there is only 1 each in Pakistan and Afghanistan as of 11:30 my time this morning.
Is that Gormy time? Thank you, Jan. So, yeah.
And you've got to be nice to me now with foundation.
I'm always nice to you. Only if you cook me lamingtons.
Oh, please. I'll cook you something else.
Okay. So now, Stonehill, you asked a question there, and I've just lost it. No, oh, that was earlier. No. Carol, what's the percentage this year? What was that in relation to?
The Centurion Club.
How many people? Look, I couldn't give you a definitive answer on how many people in our district. Maybe Jan, you might have, because that's still Charlie's baby. Do you know approximately? All right, she's she's finding out for us. Pearl, yes, I'll be sending a copy of this PowerPoint to Tim, and when Tim sends out all of the stuff, he will include this PowerPoint as well. Jan, you're back.
Yep, I just asked Charlie, he said it's about 200 odd centurions in the district at the moment. So sort of, you know, plenty of room for people to grow their centurion programs in their clubs.
Absolutely. Now, I've just got to query one thing of what you said there. There were 200 odd centurions.
Wow!
I know I'm odd. I know I'm odd, but that's another story.
That's because you're about to become a past district governor.
Sorry, when you two finished with the jokes, I was just going to say that the Rotary Club of Sale this year for the 5th year in a row is a Centurion Club.
Fantastic. There we go. There's the challenge. How many Centurion clubs can we get? There's a challenge. Let's see if we can at least emulate Rotary Club of Sale. Sunil.
Okay, so I did put a question there. I know polio has been talked about for centuries, but what's the involvement of Rotary with COVID? Because that seems to be a very current topic.
Yeah, look, Rotary is certainly involved with COVID. Jan, you quickly shot your hand up. Do you want to quickly say Rotary's involvement?
Yeah, two things, Sunil. One, there were a massive number of global grants fast-tracked through Foundation to get to both first world and third world countries with respirators and stuff like that very early on. The other thing that's probably, to me, in one way more important is that the World Health Organization and American Centre for Disease Control asked Rotary to use their polio field workers' expertise to actually create contact tracing protocols in particularly third world countries, because they didn't know, you know, people didn't know how to go about it, whereas the field workers for polio have already got the skills, so they fast-tracked those skills to a COVID situation. So that's assisted greatly in terms of getting contact tracing and stuff done. So yeah, very involved.
Thank you very much.
Yes, and right at the very early stages, they poured, I think it was $5 million straight into COVID vaccination research and all that. So Rotary has been there right from the word go. And I think you'll find we'll be there for a lot longer. And isn't it great that Rotary is recognised as leaders in being able to help achieve an outcome? You know, how many other organisations have the ability that we have? And exactly as Jan says, we've got boots on the ground in every country with polio. We're recognised for that, and they want to leverage off the work that we are doing. So that to me is huge recognition and shows that Rotary is in an amazing standing in our world community. Janet McCann has mentioned that you're concerned about the Taliban troops when the troops leave. I think we all are. We don't know what's going to happen. Last year, I was very privileged to spend a week with the district governor, who is in the Pakistan border, that borders Pakistan and Afghanistan, and it's his district of where there is wild polio. And some of the stories that he tells is just really, heart-wrenching, about trying to do stuff and the fighting and everything. But then he does go on and say great stories about the troops from both sides working together with a small ceasefire so that they can get in and do something in the communities. It's all over the place. You'll hear all different stories. But yes, I think it'll be a very interesting time moving forward when the troops do come out.
The loose cog in the wheel, can't it?
Yes.
Yeah. Let's keep fingers crossed and a bit of praying might help there.
Absolutely. And Tricia has said, can we amp up giving to trachoma? Absolutely. Again, there's lots of foundation grants available for it. The trachoma project is still well and truly a major focus. And again, our district has had a great input in that. With Sally Dell. She is our champion for that there. She works very closely with the other district champions. And yes, you know, make trachoma again. That's a very easy thing, you know. Create a trachoma project around your communities, raise awareness. You know, what better way of getting people to see what Rotary does? Get a local doctor or an eye specialist to come into one of your meetings and talk about it, and invite community people in to hear Australia's got trachoma. You know, we're a first world country and we've got this. We're the only first world country. Look, promote it and advertise it, and don't be afraid of saying, we've got a problem, we've got solutions. Go out and fundraise with a specific purpose. Sally, there we go. I've just been told Sally is talking on that this afternoon. So that must be in the community session this afternoon. So Tricia, jump on and find out the latest of what's going on there. So that's all the questions that have come through on the chat. Has anybody else got anything that they would like to say or add to the discussions today?
I've got one question. Since Bill Gates' separation from his wife, has it affected the partnership with Rotary in any way?
At this point in time, nothing has come out. We haven't heard anything, but look, I think like all of us, that foundation is bigger than Bill and Melinda, and so I'm sure it will continue. But we do need to just watch and see what happens.
Can I just make about that?
Yep.
They did actually make a joint statement to say that despite their separating and divorcing, they will be continuing together their work.
There we go.
And yeah, they made a big statement on that. I found that on the internet, on World News or something, that they made a joint statement. They will be continuing their work.
Fantastic. I hadn't caught up with that, so thank you, Janet. That's fantastic. Harry, I saw that you put your hand up before. Oop. Right, while Harry's unmuting himself, has anyone else something that they'd like to say, add, question? Kate? Is?
Unmuted. Unmute. There you go. Could you hear?
I can hear you now, Kate. You're next, Harry.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
I'm still pursuing, as the Paul Harris fellow representative, I am still pursuing the fact that I believe we would raise a great deal of money for Rotary, a great deal of money, by approaching small business and also corporations for donations for particular projects, and recognizing them as such. Now, we don't do that. We do not do that. There's been a totally negative response about doing that, and yet we're the only country, I have checked it out, that doesn't do it. Australia is unique to not doing that. So why? If you want to raise money, you are desperate to raise money. You can't raise it with $2 donations. So yes, of course you can, with all the will in the world. Don't get me wrong. I'm not being negative about that. But if you're talking money, then we have to really consider about just not keeping Paul Harris Fellows in-house. And that's what we do. That's what we do. We every club, every district, they absolutely say, no, we cannot approach business. We cannot give out Paul Harris Fellows if they donate an amount of money. They're not, they're not doing it for themselves, and you've got to really approach them to do it. They are doing it to assist, right? The fact that they want a Paul Harris Fellow, or it would be, I think, advisable to give them a framed Paul Harris Fellow so they can show to the public that they are contributing to Rotary and also to the projects that Rotary, impact the world with. Why not? It frustrates me beyond belief. I cannot tell you.
I know, Kate, and I've heard your passion several times, and yes, that is certainly on my radar for approaching, and I know you and I will certainly have some great conversations moving forward about how we can do that. I agree, and that's why I was saying give out Paul Harris Fellows, yes, to our own members, absolutely, and we do recognise communities, but we do need to be involved with the corporates. We now have the mechanism for corporates to give directly so that they can get tax benefits and all those sorts of things. So
nobody approaches them, and I'd like to approach them, but I need permission to do that.
You and I will have that discussion, absolutely.
Well, it's a wasted opportunity where fundraising is really limited.
Yes.
And for every I mean, I'm on lots of boards where we raise funds. Your brand, the Rotary brand, is the most recognisable and internationally recognised and admired and respected, and we do nothing with it in Australia.
Yep, and we together we will change that. We will start the wheels of change.
I hope so. Nothing to do with me. I hope so for Rotary.
Yes, fantastic. Yes, I agree. Harry.
Thanks, Mark. Mark, I know that we have an average membership of 30 in our club, which I'm hoping to increase to 35 by the end of my year. But I will see to it that each and every member will get one of those Centurion collector thingamajigs that we used to have.
Yep.
Now, I've done a bit of a calculation, $900 for the whole year, and if each and every club in the district does that, or even half that, it's going to bring in a lot of money for foundation.
Absolutely. Love it. And I'm sure Charlie's got a garage full of Centurion towers.
We'll get onto him. We'll get onto him and see if we can get 30 of them.
Absolutely.
35.
No worries. There we go.
Thanks,
we
Mark.
will organise it.
Good.
If no one else has any more questions, we'll finish it off there, because we've got the next sessions starting in 3/4 of an hour. So you've got time to go and grab yourself a quick bite to eat for lunch, have a coffee, and stretch your legs. So no more questions? No. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you for your time today. Greatly appreciated, and book me up to come and share some great foundation stories at your clubs.